Main events get remembered, champions get photographed, but every wrestling territory, especially Portland, was built on something just as important. The wrestlers who opened the show, anchored the middle, and made the stars look like stars. They didn't always leave with the belt, but without them, there is no main event. And this is the Mid-Card Chronicle, featuring the dependable talents who made every card complete. Rocky Montero arrived in Portland in 1971 with a boxer stance and a fighter's edge. He came in as a heel, billed as a former boxer, and he never really stopped being one. His matches often felt less like wrestling contests and more like controlled bar fights. The jabs, the short temper, the simmering anger. And sometimes that anger spilled over before the bell even rang. One of the lost arts of territory wrestling was the eruption before the entrance. When Norman Charles and Rocky Montero began fighting from the dressing room before they even reached the ring, the Portland Sports Arena came alive. It didn't feel choreographed. It felt real. That intensity helped propel Montero into bigger matches. A win over Akbar led to a singles main event opportunity against Johnny Boyd, a significant position for someone not originally slotted at the top. He soon turned babyface during a feud with the Kangaroos, and the crowd responded to his toughness. He wasn't flashy. He wasn't polished, but he was believable. Years later, when Montero reflected on the business, there was some bitterness. About Don Owen, he said, "He really turned into a bastard. I injured my leg and had to have an operation. They had guest passes with a $2 fee that said it was for an injury fund. There was no injury fund. I paid the $10,000 for my operation myself." Yet, when asked about Roy Shire, a promoter many wrestlers criticized, Montero offered praise. "Roy Shire was a great guy, one of the smartest promoters around. He gave me my big break." In San Francisco, Montero was teamed with Kurt Von Steiger as the Invaders, proof that he could adapt beyond Portland. Rocky Montero may not have been the face of the territory, but he brought credibility, and sometimes credibility is the most important ingredient on the card. Art Cruz represents something rare in wrestling, a true reinvention. When he debuted in Portland in August of 1981, he was the classic white meat babyface, clean, energetic, straightforward. He earned early wins over Chris Colt, Tiny Anderson, and Terry Fargo, and stayed through early 1982. Dependable, solid, the kind of wrestler you could plug into any position on the card. Yet when he returned in 1987, he was almost unrecognizable. Gone was a clean-cut hero. In his place was an animated, intense heel, wild expressions, exaggerated interviews, and a character that felt just slightly unhinged. He reminded many fans of Ripper Collins in the way he committed fully to the performance. Now, 1987 wasn't the strongest creative period for Portland wrestling, but Art Cruz was a bright spot. He scored wins over Mark Young, Sky High Lee Jr., Vinny Valentino, and Pat Brady. His feud with Mike Miller culminated in a hair match on August 1st, 1987, one of Portland's most reliable stipulations. And Cruz lost the match. Shortly after, he stepped away from the ring, just before the territory shifted direction under new booking. Outside of wrestling, Cruz became a correctional officer, working in Oregon's prison system. He also served on the Oregon Boxing and Wrestling Commission, moving from performer to regulator. Art Cruz may not have headlined Portland wrestling, but in two very different eras, he helped hold it together. Abudda Dein arrived in Portland in 1986, wrapped in mystique. His interviews were theatrical and cryptic. He spoke of the bones of Benares, the tree of woe, dark symbolism, and ancient forces. There was a touch of Kevin Sullivan in the delivery, deliberate, hypnotic, unsettling. Later, fans discovered that he was Rocky Iaukea, the son of King Curtis. And suddenly, the theatrical lineage made sense. Well, wrestling sense. Between 1986 and 1988, Abudda Dein wasn't just a character. He was successful. He held the Northwest Tag Team titles 3 times, teaming with Mike Miller and the Grappler, and he captured the Northwest TV title twice. That's not just mid-card filler. That's trusted depth. He could work singles or tags. He could talk. He could anchor a program when needed. In the later years of Portland territory, when consistency sometimes wavered, Abudda Dein brought commitment to a character and reliability in the ring. The mid-cards need personalities as much as it needs workers, and Abudda Dein brought both. Not every wrestler becomes the face of a territory, but every territory survives because of the ones who show up night after night and make the card work. The steady hands, the character builders, the glue that held it together. This has been the Mid-Card Chronicle, because without the middle, there is no main event. And the Mid-Card Chronicle is based on the Encyclopedia of Portland Wrestlers by historian Mike Rogers, available now on Amazon. And new episodes drop every Friday, so be sure to subscribe on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and on YouTube. I'm your host, Frank Culbertson, and thanks for joining us on the Mid-Card Chronicle.